Hello, this is a video on how to solve problems where you have integers raised to integers, integer exponents. So I have a photo here of, it kind of looks like a multiplication table, but really it's a power table. So here are the values that would be the base. So I'm going to say 2 is squared, we would get 4. 2 to the third, to the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. So 2 to the 10th is equal to 1024. Sorry, it's a little grainy because it's just a screenshot of a spreadsheet from my computer. So really, like, we could figure out very quickly without a calculator, 4 to the 6th power is 4096, things like that. So when you see 5 to the 3rd power, we're going to go to the 5th row. This is squared. This is to the 3rd. So we would use 125 is the answer to that. Here, I really should put that in parentheses. Okay, I'll do this one. I'll do this a little differently so that you can kind of see the difference here. If I do negative 10 to the 6th, first of all, I'm going to look, and I don't use the power sheet for powers of 10. I usually don't even put it in there because you can just count the number of zeros, and that's the same as the exponent. So we're really going to need 1 and 6 zeros here. So that's a million. And then we look about the negative here, and we say a negative raised to the 6th power is going to be a positive. So I don't need to put a sign there. If it were an odd power and a negative, the answer would be negative. On the next problem, negative parentheses 3 to the 7th, I'm going to find 3 to the 7th. Oops, wrong thing. Get rid of that one. 3 squared, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th is 2187. And then the 3 is being raised to the 7th power, which is positive 2187. And then this just means take the opposite of that answer. Okay, down here, 4 to the 7th, same thing. 4 to the 7th, 16,384. No negative sign, so no worries about that. Here, negative 9 to the 5th. I'm going to find 9 to the 5th. Then I'm going to change the sign. Very important distinction. We're going to do exponents, and then we're going to do multiplication. This is the same thing as saying negative 1 times 9 to the 5th. So we're going to find 9 to the 5th. 9 squared, 3rd, 4th, 5th. 59,049. And since it's times negative 1, we change the sign at the end. And that's how we find integers to positive integer exponents. What if I had a negative integer exponent? So it gets a little bit more complicated and it gets into some of the further exponent rules, but I'm going to keep the exponents a little lower and the numbers a little lower so that we can kind of not need to worry so much about the table above. We'll do things that are more common powers, like 2 to the negative 2. So this is the same as saying this. So hopefully, based on prior knowledge, that you can recognize that 2 squared is 4. So I really have to do 4 to the negative 1. Now, we then need to figure out what this means. So as you kind of go through this unit, you're going to learn more about different properties of exponents. Negative exponents, basically, if you have a whole number to a negative exponent, it is the same as 1 over that number to the positive exponent. So this is the same as saying 1/4. All right, and a nice way to think about this is if you kind of look at, I'm going to keep the number 2 here. 2 to the 1 is equal to 2. 2 squared is equal to 4. 2 to the third is equal to 8. 2 to the fourth is equal to 16. And we can kind of continue that pattern pretty easily. But I like to reverse the pattern. And if we divide it by 2, so here we're just multiplying by 2, multiply by 2, multiply by 2. 32 would be next, 64 would be after that. But if we wanted to go back down the same sequence of numbers, we would be dividing by 2. So if I divide by 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. I'm going to divide by 2. What's 2 divided by 2? It is 1. And if I continue this pattern, this would be 2 to the 0. More evidence that 2 to the 0 is 1. Okay, or anything to the 0 is 1. And if I divide by 2, 1 divided by 2 is equal to 1/2. Again, continuing the pattern of negative into the negative exponents. 2 to the negative 2, if I divide 1/2 by 2, I get 1/4. And if I go 2 to the negative 3, I get 1/8. So when you have a negative exponent, you end up getting the reciprocal of that number. Works for fractions as well, but that's a separate lesson. Let's just do one more just to kind of make sure you understand that. So just off to the side here, let's go with, we did a couple of these earlier. So let's do 5 to the negative 3. Well, remember that 5 to the third is 125. So 5 to the negative 3 is 1 over 125. What if I had a fraction? This is kind of just getting into the next lesson. But if I had 1/3 to the negative 3, you can take care of that negative right away. We could take the reciprocal of the inside piece. So the reciprocal of 1/3 is the 3, and then keep the exponent now to the positive, and we get 3 cubed, which is 27.